Friends, how are you? I think you are keeping well by the grace of Almighty God. I am also fine. Dear students, you know that we are having a critical moment because of COVID-19. So be careful, stay home, stay safe, and be connected with us. Dear learners, you have to follow the common rules of health for your safety. All institutions are closed due to COVID-19. For this reason, you have to keep your learning online. Our present government has taken initiatives to continue our studies or your studies. So, dear learners, you have to be connected with our classes. Dear learners, you know that different teachers from different institutions are taking different classes on different subjects on online. So you have to follow these classes for your betterment. If you follow these classes, this will be more beneficial in future. So dear learners, you have to strictly or carefully follow all these classes. Dear learners, before starting my class, I would like to thank all of my viewers, all of the students, all of the honorable teachers and respected guardians who are with me and are watching this classes on online. So dear learners, I am here to have a class with you, especially for the students of class 9 and 10. This class is very important because today I will discuss an important topic, and the topic is about transformation of sentences, especially changes of degrees. Dear learners, before starting my class, I would like to introduce myself on behalf of Port Secondary School, Khalishpur, Khulna. This is Himangshu Saha, Assistant Teacher of English, Port Secondary School, Khalishpur, Khulna. Dear learners, you know that we are having a critical time, so stay safe, stay home and be connected with us. Dear learners, I am here to take a class especially for the students of 9 and 10 and this class is especially for English second paper. Our today's subject is English second paper and topic is comparison of degrees or change of degree, especially transformation of sentence. Before starting my class, I would like to have a question before you. Do you know what is transformation of sentence? Yes, I think you know it well, but for your better understanding, I will repeat it once again. Transformation of sentence means the form changes of form, especially one form to another without changing of meaning. So our today's topic is transformation of sentence. Dear learners, let's enjoy the class. Now I will show you something, and for this you have to take your pen, you have to open your notebook and follow me carefully. Dear learners, you have to copy these sentences on your notebook or exercise book. Let's start our today's lesson. Topic: transformation of sentence, changes of degree. Now look at the board. Here you can see that first one, he is a good boy. Second one, he is better than Rana. Third one is, he is the best boy in the class. Dear learners, in 3 sentences you can say a common thing, that is comparison of adjective or adverb. In sentence 1, the adjective, in sentence 1 the adjective good simply tells that he is good without comparison with another. Here you don't find any comparison. Next, in sentence 2, the adjective better tells that he is better in comparison with the adjective better. Here better is comparison with Rana. Comparison with Rana. In sentence 3, the adjective, in sentence 3, here the adjective is best. The adjective best tells that he is best of 3 boys. Thus, in the above sentences, we can see that the changes in the forms of adjective or adverb. The adjective good is in positive degree, and the adjective better is in comparative degree, and the adjective best is in the superlative degree. So, dear learners, you know that adjectives or there are 3 kinds of degrees. 3 kinds of degrees of adjective or adverb. First one is positive degree without any comparison. First one is positive degree without any comparison. And the second one is comparative degree, comparison between 2 persons or things. Comparison between 2 persons or things. And the third one is superlative degree. The comparison is among 3 or more persons and things. So, our today's topic is change of degree. Today we will learn how we can change one form to another, especially positive to comparative and superlative. Dear learners, look at the board. I have already written the shortcut rules for your better understanding. Changes of degree in shortcut: positive, comparative and superlative. Rule 1, not so ... as, then comparative will be less ... and and you don't find any superlative here. Rule number 2, as dot dot as in positive degree, then comparative will be no less or not less dot dot than, and you don't find any superlative here. Next, rule number 3 is subject plus verb plus so plus as plus positive degree plus as plus dot dot, and comparative degree will be last subject plus verb or last part plus verb plus not plus first subject or first subject. First subject. Not first subject. Here you have to use comparative form plus comparative form plus then plus first subject, and you don't find any superlative rule here. Next on, and number 4 is subject plus verb plus not plus so plus positive degree plus as plus dot dot, and the comparative degree will be, or comparative form will be last subject plus verb plus comparative degree plus then plus first subject. Here you don't find any superlative form here. Next rule, and rule number 5 is so or as dot dot as, and comparative will be not dot dot then only for affirmative, and you don't find any superlative form here. Next rule, rule number 6, very few plus plural verb dot dot as plus dot dot as, and the comparative form will be then most other plus then most other plus dot dot. Superlative you have to write in this form. You have to use in superlative form one of them. Next one and last one is no other dot dot as or so dot dot as. Then you have to use in comparative form. If you want to change it into comparative one, then you have to use then any other dot or then all other. If you want to change this sentence in superlative one, then you have to use that. Dear students, now I will erase the board. And I will present some examples here for rule number 1. Positive, positive. She is not so stupid as her sister. She is not so stupid as her sister. As her sister. You have to change this sentence into comparative. You will not be able to change this sentence into superlative one, so you have to change this sentence only comparative one. For example, for rule number 1, comparative. comparative. Subject, you have to at first write subject, she is, you have to omit not so, and you have to write less instead of not so. Less, then adjective or positive form of adjective, stupid, you have to omit as and you have to write then instead of as. Then her sister, her sister. Next, I will move to another rule. Rule number 2. I will give an example for your understanding. Example for rule number 2, positive. Deepa is as clever as Deepa. Deepa is as clever as Deepa. Change it into comparative. You don't be able to change it in superlative one. Here you find a structure, and that is as dot dot as. Simply you have to use no less or not less dot dot than comparative. At first you have to write subject plus verb. You don't need change of subject and verb here. Deepa is, only you have to write no less or not less instead of first as. No less, then you have to write adjective, then you have to write then instead of next as. And then you have to write next part or last subject. Deepa. Deepa is not no less clever than Deepa. Now I will move to another example for rule number 3. He is as tall as his brother. He is as tall as his brother. Here you have to change this sentence only comparative. You don't be able to change it into superlative one. So turn it into comparative one. Comparative. He is as tall as his brother. He is as tall as his brother. At first you have to write last subject, and that is his brother. His brother. Then you have to put verb. Here verb is eat. Then you have to put not as the sentence is in affirmative form. His brother is not. And I have used not as this sentence is here the positive form of this sentence is in affirmative one, so I have to use not here. His brother is not, then I have to use so. Sorry. I have to use comparative form of adjective, and that is taller. Then I have to use then, and next and last I have to use first subject, and that is he. And the answer will be here. His brother is not taller than he. And then I will move to another thing, and that is rule number 4. I will erase the bold once again. Rule number 4, positive. He is not so tall as his brother. And we have to turn this sentence only comparative one, and you don't be able to turn it into superlative one. For turning it in comparative one, you have to use at first subject, and that is his brother. Then you have to use verb is. Here you can see that the positive form of this sentence is in negative one, so you have to omit not. Plus subject plus verb plus comparative. You have to use comparative form of adjective instead of positive form of adjective, and that is taller. Taller. And then you have to use then instead of as. Next, at last you have to use first subject, and that is he. Now I will move to another example, and there is example number for rule number 5. Number 5, positive. So dot dot as, not other than, only for affirmative. If the sentence is affirmative, then you have to use in this form. You can only able to change this sentence in comparative. For example, I am as old as he. Comparative comparative will be here. At first you have to use last subject, and that is he. Then you have to use verb. We use am after subject I, and you have to use is after he is. Then you have to use not. Then you have to use comparative form of adjective, and that is older. Then you have to use then, and at last you have to put first subject of this sentence, and that is I. Now I will move to another rule and another example for rule number 6. Here you can find that 3 form of degrees will be used here. Example for rule number 6. Positive, very few boys in the class are as good as he. Comparative will be, at first you have to use first subject, and that is he, and verb will be turned into singular one. Here you find a verb, and that is are, will be turned into is. Next you have to use comparative form of adjective, and the adjective here is good, and the comparative form of this word is better. Then you have to use than most other. Next you have to use after the part of very few and before verb, and that is boys in the class. He is better than most other boys in the class, and the answer will be here. He is better than most other boys in the class. Next you have to turn it in superlative form. Superlative, you need not change subject and verb here, so subject and verb will be unchanged here. He is, you have to use one of the instead of than most other, one of the. Next you have to use superlative form of better, and that is best. Then you have to use next part of other, and that is boys in the class. Boys in the class. And the last example for rule number 7. I will erase the board once again. Example for rule number 7. Positive. No other boy in the class is so good as he. And the comparative form will be here. Comparative. At first you have to use last subject, and that is he. Then you have to use verb, and the verb is. Then you have to use the, sorry, you don't use the here, you have to use only, then any other, or then all other. I will use only, then any other here. At first I have to change the form of degree here, and that is adjective will be turned into comparative one. Here the adjective is good, and this adjective will be turned into comparative, and that is better. Then you have to use than any other. Than any other. Then you have to use the next part of no other and before her. And so you have to use boy in the class. Boy in the class. Superlative one is subject and verb will be unchanged here, and that's why you have to write subject here, verb is,